also suggested in some newspapers that the menu issue had backfired on Julia Gillard simply because she'd gone in too hard against Mel Brough and Tony Abbott. Do you accept that?
Well, I think if Mel Brough in the morning was apologising, Tony Abbott was saying it was unacceptable, Julie Bishop was saying it was unacceptable, it was fair enough to proceed on the presumption that it had been at the event. Now, as it turned out that night, much later, Mr Abbott's office issued a statement on behalf of the restaurateur who did this menu, saying that it wasn't, you know,
wasn't circulated at the event.
So that does change things, but I don't see how
well, if you accept
people were supposed to have known that, given that the coalition itself was proceeding on the basis that it had been.
But would you go to the trouble of drawing up a menu like that and then just share the gag with a couple of kitchen hands?
No, I don't think so. I think it was there to be seen. Now, the fact that it wasn't seen by the diners, there's no evidence that it was. Certainly there's no evidence that Mel Brough or Joe Hockey saw it. But I think that was the initial and original intention. And it's not even something that was new. There was something, I think about 3 years ago, a KFC mock-up poster along the same lines, which even back then was not
for the one
funny.
For Hillary Clinton.
But along the same lines,
well, I mean, I think this originally came from America. It's not new. I dispute your point, Lenore. I think that any decent human being, if confronted with this mock-up, would say, I'm repelled by it, it's repugnant. And
that was what I was saying.
No, but you're saying that it's worthy of pursuit because 3 people said that they felt repelled by it.
No, what I was saying was... No, my point...
misconstrued you?
The point was whether the government should have somehow known ahead of time that it wasn't circulated. And my point was simply that both the opposition and the government were working on the assumption that it had been seen during the day until information came out.
Well, I think that if you're going to start throwing dirt...
Mr Brough and Mr Hockey had worked on the assumption that it had been at the dinner, but they hadn't seen it.
Because they had been told that it was.
Right.
They had been told that it was.
So what Lenore's saying, therefore the government's reaction was not unreasonable.
No,
in the
because
circumstances.
it's the government that introduced it. The government produced...
They
did.
How did they do that?
We have no evidence of that whatsoever. What do you base that on?
Because this idiot who put it on his face, the one who put it on Facebook,
who had been a chef
months ago, who had been a chef, wasn't there on the night, sent it to Julia Gillard's office, which apparently sat on it.
No, the apparently there is where we part
well,
company.
They didn't sit on it?
There is no evidence that this was introduced into the debate by the government. I have seen no evidence of that.
Where do you think it came from?
It came from the chef. That's what he said on the record in numerous television interviews, that he circulated it months ago and that he circulated it again. I mean, if you can prove otherwise, go right ahead, but I've not seen any evidence
that... He sent it
to
Peter Van Onselen. Did Van Onselen sit on it too for just the appropriate moment?
Didn't bother with it. Thought it was trash, as you or I or almost any...
Piers, I'm very interested in
Malcolm,
I agree with you. I agree with you. Why do you think that then the Gillard office...
Why?
do you have evidence of this? No, do you have evidence of this? Because I'm interested. It would be relevant if there is evidence that this was introduced into the debate by Julia Gillard's office, and that's what you're saying, then you should produce the evidence, because that would actually be interesting.
And then we can move on. But I don't think there is evidence.